Associates. They're best known for their Gore-Tex material. That's the one that you will find in winter jackets and protective materials for like firemen, and not in the Kevlar jackets. Kevlar is one of its closest competitors, but in the Kevlar jackets of policemen. So this is their logo. Kind of familiar. You've known it from, if any of you have any ski jackets or any outdoor wear. They also are very famous for their boots. A quick overview. It actually started from the family basement of the Gore family in 1958, and today it's transformed into an international multi-billion-dollar company. It's originally based in Newark, Delaware. Their major material that they use for almost all of their products is called polytetrafluoroethane, also known as Teflon. This is the same stuff that's on your frying pans, but it's also used in cables. They'll insulate cables with it, and if you stretch it, you can turn it into a material that's able to be woven. And this is what makes Gore-Tex. In 2011, the company was featured in Fortune magazine's 100 Best Companies to Work for its 14th consecutive year. It's one of the very few companies to be on Fortune magazine's list every single edition. And some history of it. Founder Bill Gore, this is Bill Gore, he worked for a company called DuPont during World War II. This one is probably best known for, again, more Teflon. They make nylon, which they used in rope, but it's also used in, pantyhose. And they make fluorocarbon refrigerants, which is what makes your refrigerator run. They also make neoprene, which is a plastic-like material. It's not breathable, which is what makes Gore-Tex so good, but the neoprene is often used in wetsuits. And when he was only a sophomore in college, Gore's oldest son, this is Bill Gore, his son is Bob Gore. It gets kind of difficult to tell them apart. But when he was only a sophomore in college, his father, Bill, had ended up, was having this difficulty with he was trying to think of a way to insulate the cables with the polytetrafluoride. And his son actually came up with this idea. And so he came up with this one, and it's called multi-tech cables. Basically, they're just insulated wires. And Bill's wife, seen here, Genevieve, told Bill that he should start his own business with these multi-tech cables because the patent actually belonged to his son, Bob. And so they started their business in the family basement. And by 1960, and he started this business in 1957, by 1960 they were already ready to open a new facility because of such large orders of cables. And then by 1965, they employed about 200 people. This is only after 7 years of being in business. And so one day, Bill was walking through his company, and he realized that he didn't know everyone. He didn't know all of the employees. So he realized that about 200 people, it was time to build another plant. And in all, I believe all of the, actually it can't be all of the people, they must have changed this by now. But in the early stages, they limited the number of employees at each facility to 200 to keep a close-knit atmosphere and encourage communication. And this is Bob Gore. In 1969, Bob was experimenting with stretching PTFE so it could be woven, and he was working on this for a while and ended up actually realizing that it was easier to do it if you just yanked on the strands of PTFE instead of trying to figure out the most perfect conditions and stretch it very, very slowly. So if you just yank on it, it ends up stretching out to this material. This is the basis for Gore-Tex, and it's used in everything from artificial arteries and filters for intravenous bags in the medical industries. It's used in the military for armor. It's used in sports apparel. This is the sports apparel is because it's breathable. It's used in spacesuits and winter jackets. And then by 1980, Gore was pulling in 200 to 300 million. It had 29 plants worldwide and 4,200 employees. And this is compared to today, where they are pulling in $2 billion. They have 45 plants worldwide and 9,000 employees. And one of the reasons for such their quick growth and success is because of this unique management style that they have. Bill disliked strict management, and one of his favorite sayings was that the objective of the enterprise is to make money and have fun doing so. And he got this idea when working at DuPont, where employees worked in self-directed task forces, and this is called the lattice management style. It's also called unmanagement. All of the employees, there are no bosses or titles. All of the employees are called associates, and when an associate joins the company, they are on the same power level as one that's been there for years. The only titles that exist at Gore are CEO/President and Secretary/Treasurer, and this is only because they're required by national business laws. And employees are not told what tasks to complete, so instead of having a boss come in and tell an employee you have to do this, this, and this by the end of the week, they make commitments to a project that they feel strongly for. So kind of in a group, they'll just say, okay, well, I'll take care of this and I'll do this, you know, and they'll set their own assignments. And this also leads to employees being able to work in their own strengths, because if someone's not told something to do, people will naturally tend to play to their strengths. Again, there are no assigned leaders, so leaders emerge naturally just by gaining the respect of their coworkers. Terry Kelly is the current CEO and president. She was elected to the position in 2005 by a peer-driven selection process. This means that she wasn't chosen. She was chosen by all the employees. Because this is such a strange system, new associates will have these sponsors who guide them through the organization, just to basically have them get to know what to do. The lack of structure, associates must be passionate about their work, they must have good communication skills, and they must be driven and organized. There's no company-wide mission statement, but they do have 4 fundamental beliefs, and these include belief in the individual, powers of small teams, all in the same boat, which means that everyone they all share in the responsibility for the company, and a long-term view, which means that Gore values long-term success over short-term gain. And some of their guiding principles are freedom for the associates to choose their own goals, and fairness are that they all are on the same power level, commitment in that they make a commitment to they have a strong commitment to the environment, and that they make a commitment to their products, and waterline, which means that although associates have freedom to basically do what they want, if there's a decision that might possibly be below the waterline and cause the company serious damage, they agree to consult other associates about it. And this is showing how Gore-Tex fabric works, and that they have this promise that if a Gore-Tex fabric product is not breathable or waterproof, the customer can bring it back, and Gore will repair it, replace it, or refund it. Gore are good stewards, pledged to be good stewards of the environment, and They place all facilities in non-metropolitan areas because the Gores believe that such locations offer a higher quality of life for their employees. They serve a bunch of different industries and do everything from aerospace, and manufacturing, to military and textiles, to other random things like guitar strings and making boots for elephants with foot injuries. They were on Fortune's 100 Best Companies to Work For list for the past 14 years, and in similar lists in places such as the UK, Germany, and Italy, and France. Their strengths are that everyone is on the same power level, so that way natural leaders form. Some of their weaknesses are that because people aren't assigned tasks, it's possible for an associate to slack off. Some of their opportunities are that associates are very loyal to the company, and they're not generally going to leave the company. A lot of times they'll just stay. And some of the threats are that it's because of such a difficult job to work in, just because of how not structured it is, it's very difficult to hire employees. And they're continuing to expand. They've opened facilities in Brazil, Canada, and China, and they're really building into their medical division after acquiring several companies in 2000.